Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend D.G. Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes, or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there. Hello everyone, welcome to, might be been a little fooled by that intro. This isn't a We Are the Night. This is a Joker episode. This is all about the legacy of the Joker. We're going to celebrate, there's a new Joker movie coming out. We'll see what that does, but yes, I'm Phil, for those who don't know, and, of course, Mr. DC himself, Mr. Tyler Patrick.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. This is kind of a spur-of-the-moment kind of thing, and, yeah, I'm game.
DC superfan with an heavy emphasis on Superman. Look behind him.
How about I say heavy? Yes. Yes, very, very heavy. So...
All right, so yes, last minute we needed something for the schedule. And again, kids, if you were looking for your weekly there's supposed to be a Nightwing news this week for your new issues. The perfect storm hits. Then when I say perfect, I put that in quotes. The new Nightwing and Titans issues were not out. They are delayed until next month. So you're going to get 2 weeks of new Nightwing and Titans issues next month. And Kristen was under the weather, so I reached out to Tyler and said, let's do something, and we finally settled on Joker.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, we're, here it is Wednesday, and we're approaching Batman Day on Saturday, and we do have the new Joker film coming. I almost want to say Joker movie in quotes myself, but,
oh, yes, you did join us just recently for the 200th episode of We Are the Night, where we did a live watch of Batman 89, and I believe what chain is that? There are certain theaters that are going to be showing Batman 89 this Saturday, I guess, for Batman Day. So
yes, so we bought tickets this year. We're going Saturday to see Batman Forever. Because 2 years ago we did Batman 89, Batman Returns, and Batman Mask of the Phantasm. And AMC is putting Batman 89, Mask of the Phantasm, and Forever in theaters. So I was like, we're gonna do Forever just because we hadn't done that one, and it'll be fun.
Yep. Yeah, I was thinking about pulling the trigger on Batman 89 because I'm taking Luca, because I saw it in the theater when I was 11, and now he is 11. So I was thinking about just.
Hey, I love seeing Mask of the Phantasm with the kids.
I still have never seen that in the theater, and I so want to see that in the theater.
That's the one you should pull the trigger on, man.
I do, but I swear it's never around here, or it's never at a good time. I'm like, that is the one I want to see in the theater.
Is there an AMC theater near you?
Yes. Oh, why are they showing that this weekend?
I can't remember. Text me your zip code.
Well, I was going to say that's. I was just going to look it up now.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to pull it up on AMC theaters.
All right, but yes, no, we're here to talk the Joker. So I know we were talking about a heavy emphasis on some of the more well-known Joker stories, like The Killing Joke and Three Jokers and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, the character, it's the legacy of the Joker. Is like, The Killing Joke is probably one of the biggest Batman Joker comics. And I think every version of the Joker that we've gotten in films and everything say that they pull elements from that book. And I feel like that book is very unique, but it's also, I think, sometimes misinterpreted.
Oh, wait, did you say The Killing Joke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's very dark. It was made kind of as an Elseworlds tale.
It was, because I know with that ending, I mean, spoilers if you haven't read this, kids, when I was young, I was like, why would Batman be laughing with the Joker? And people are like, no, that's supposed to be, he's murdering him in the end. Batman's killing the Joker. So, right. Yeah, so that would have been in Elseworlds, but then, yes, all of a sudden, like, not even that long afterwards, probably within 2 years or so, if not sooner, they were bringing it up in the regular comics. So it was like, okay.
Yeah, like, it was mentioned as this Elseworlds tale, and I've heard Grant Morrison talk about the ending where, you can interpret it as, like you just said, Batman murdering the Joker. But I mean, you have in this book the, the quote unquote origin of the Joker that everyone started to subscribe to, and people, let's see, people, were like, oh, that's the Joker's origin. And they've kind of played around with it. Is that's the origin. And then we'll talk, how other books have kind of taken that, but it's also, this is the story that the whole Barbara becoming Oracle is spun out of, getting shot. At least, I mean, because that's, am I correct? Like, I don't remember in the other comics of her getting shot by the Joker. I thought this one was what they were referencing.
That was this one, yeah, because that's the big thing. Once they referenced that, it's like, well, I guess it's in continuity now, because I remember them mentioning it in a Batman book. Then, of course, she becomes Oracle for the first time in the Suicide Squad of all places.
But you have, I mean, there's some brutally dark crap in this book. I mean, yeah. Not only are we getting this whole backstory for the Joker, which is hilarious, because then at the end of the book, the Joker has the whole thing about it being multiple choice, and that's how he chooses to remember it. So his whole backstory is from an unreliable narrator.
Yes.
So like everything he could have said is just pure crap. But
I think the first thing, that might be the first story, I think, where he's like, oh, I never remember, who knows? It's like, it's an origin story, but it's not, because he's like, is that my origin? I don't know. I remember it different every time. So that's the thing. Joker's one of those characters. I don't want to know the origin, because he's supposed to be like a chaotic force. So it's like, it kind of takes the shine off that chaotic force if you know exactly where he came from.
Yeah. And who he is. That's why, we're talking about this book, but into like today they dropped on the DC app the Joker World special, and it has an 8-page epilogue as prologue by Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok and the whole team that had done 3 Jokers. And this 8-page story, along with 3 Jokers, has ties directly back to the Killing Joke.
Just purely selfishly here. Yes, I looked at my local AMC. They are playing Batman 89 and Mask of the Phantasm.
See, dude, that's what I'm telling you. You guys go.
It looks like 2 if I time it. If you go to the one, might be able to go to both. That's like,
well, I mean, that's so. 2 years ago at our Cinemark, we bought it and did a triple. We saw Mask of the Phantasm. Then when that was over, 89. And then after that one, Selah actually left, and Solomon stayed. It was me and Solomon and my friend Brian, and we watched Batman Returns. So we did all 3 of them, And last year in theaters, they re-released the Nolan trilogy, and we just didn't get tickets fast enough because they sold out. But this year, like I said, we're trying to see them all in theaters, so we're just doing Forever this year. But I said to Jania, it's kind of funny because next year's the 30th anniversary of Batman Forever, and I figured that's when they would, put, Batman Forever.
I mean, they might today again for Batman Day, especially if it's the 30th anniversary.
Because my kids enjoy the Schumacher movies, and I have a fondness for them. But now you look back on the past, it's whatever. I wouldn't mind taking them to see both the Schumacher films in theaters. So it's kind of like, I wish like we had that.
Yeah. I mean, they're all time capsules too. It's like 89. It's like, I saw it in the theater when it first came out, but it's like, I haven't seen it since then in the theater.
It was great seeing it in the theater. So,
like I said, I want to take my son, who's the same age now I was when I saw it, to be like, well, yeah, I forced your grandma to take me to see this opening night.
My dad, that was one of the things, like, I didn't see 89 in theaters. I was too young. I saw Batman Returns. It was a really bad experience.
Oh, jeez.
I talked about that before.
I think it was dark.
With my mom. Yeah. My dad took us to see, we were one of the few people who saw Mask of the Phantasm in theaters. Oh, man. So my dad took us to see that because he always liked, but as far as live action, Batman Forever was the big one because I was just at the right age. It was going to have Robin. It was a little bit more confidence after Batman Returns. So that's the one in 95 that just like boom, like that was like the big Batman film. Mm-hmm. And I have fond memories of, with the whole going to McDonald's, and then, with Batman and Robin, the same kind of thing. It was Taco Bell and all their tie-ins.
Oh yeah. Especially the Schumacher films. They were looking for lots of tie-ins and stuff. Yeah.
The cereal boxes, like, Kellogg's. I bought all the Kellogg's boxes and the Disney Adventure magazines. So it's going to be fun to see it again on the big screen with the kids, But what I was saying about,
but meanwhile, back to the cereal. That's the thing. That's what's always got me. Like one of my earliest like blog posts was about this. I'm like, it's so funny how like they'll like sell stuff to kids now with the Joker, and I'm like, I know he's fictional, but it's like he's a serial killer. It's so weird.
Yeah, he's pure evil. I mean, in this book, okay, and I think sometimes people maybe don't understand. Like, not only does he shoot and paralyze Barbara, he then sexually assaults her and takes pictures that then he later brutally assaults and dehumanizes
Commissioner Gordon,
and then shows him the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, I think, one of the darkest Joker books, and if I would not say, like, turns in the Joker's character. We have this book and The Dark Knight Returns coming out similar times, right in the same kind of time frame. And both of them show a different side of a dark Joker, but I feel like this is like the darkest Joker, like, story up to this point.
At that point, that was the darkest Joker. I mean, before that, he had killed people. He used like the gas or Joker venom or something. And again, he was still killing people, but yeah, nothing this dark. Again, that 80, what was that? 88. So like 86 to 88, or you can even go 89. I mean, that was like the darkest period in like a lot of comics, especially Batman. You had, Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, and then like 2 years later you got Killing Joke. I mean, it got pretty dark.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I mean, it must have sold, because I mean that's how they kept it. They kept the theme rolling for a while. Then by 92, they were like, how can we cash in? I know, Death of Superman, Nightfall.
Yeah, they were all similar, but the Joker. Let me ask you, Phil. Before Batman 89,
yes,
would you, looking back at like a lot of the comics, would you say that the Joker was like Batman's number one nemesis, or do you think Batman 89 cemented him as the number one nemesis?
I think he might have been. I think you could have made a big argument for him being the number one, just because of his appearances, especially in other medias, like some of the cartoons and stuff. Batman 66. Just the way they painted him. But yeah, I think 89 really cemented it. And that's the big thing. What was that? Was that late 60s, early 70s? They went in a number of years without putting him in the book. And then there's that classic Batman 251 where he shows up again. I'm like, can you imagine them going years without putting the Joker in any book in any way, shape, or form these days? No.
Let's see. The New 52 started in the fall of 2011. And the Joker had that big series, like in, was a detective when he was with the doll maker. The doll maker removed his face and everything.
Yeah.
And then the Joker disappeared for a year. As part of the launch of the New 52, they didn't want to have him right there in the front.
Yeah. But again, too, with the whole face thing, they were like kind of teasing. He's going to be back. I mean, they played the whole boogeyman thing. He's going to be back. When is he going to be back? When is he going to jump out of the shadows and stuff?
And it's just kind of like, every writer who gets Batman has like their Joker story. They can't wait to do, like, I just remember like Scott Snyder did his big thing with the Joker. And then when James Tynion the fourth took over, like he did the Joker War. I'm correct with that. Like, I'm trying to remember everything, but like Joker War, and it just seemed like for a while there, the Joker was just in every book and everything.
Well, yeah, especially around the time of the first movie too. I mean, yeah, they really went hard on Joker.
So you had, Azarillo's Joker in 2012.
Mm.
I feel like it's been.
Speaking of that movie, I'm very curious to see of like the fan base who went to see that first Joker movie,
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to think of the second one when there's like more singing and?
See, everyone's overplaying the singing, and to me, I'm just like, one, it's kind of a logical step. If you look at the first movie, he was already dancing and listening to music. But you're dealing with psychosis, right?
Yeah, but it too. I'm just like, I think some of the dude bros went to see that first Joker movie, and they're going to be like, "What is it? What is this?" And it's just like, it seems like a weird. Not musicals are fine, but I'm just like, it just seems like a weird shift to me.
I don't even call it a musical because, like, La La Land came out and people called it a musical. It wasn't really a musical. It had songs in it. And when you incorporate, like, more modern day songs and stuff, and it's, like, in his head,
yeah,
I don't think it's going to be as much musical as people are thinking because...
You're probably better equipped to answer this than me because your family's involved in theater. When does something become a musical? Does it have to have a certain amount of music and singing in it before it becomes a musical? To make the jump from a movie to a musical or a play to a musical?
It's the rule of thumb has always been like with musicals is a 50-50 of singing and of dialogue. And I think it kind of varies because you have different types of musicals. I mean, if you think about it, you have musicals where the songs are telling a part of the story compared to just breaking out and singing. Like I said, I equate it kind of like to where La La Land, a lot of people, like, there's some music in it and singing and dancing where like their opening numbers definitely feels like a musical. But as the movie goes on, it didn't feel like a real musical. It just felt like we have these sporadic musical segments. And I feel like that's going to be where we're going to be with Joker 2, where there's going to be an element, but I don't think it's going to be like Sweeney Todd, like where it's going to be as much. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it though. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The first one. Yeah. But, my issue was I always felt that the first film was they wanted to tell a certain story and they couldn't, like, oh, it's a mental health about a guy. But if we break him down and call him the Joker, all of a sudden, boom, we have this built-in, fan base and style. Like, because, I mean, let's face it, the clown makeup isn't exactly like the Joker that we all know.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you could see any random serial killer. That's what I said. It just seemed weird to me, that movie. I'm like, if they had just done a straight-up serial killer movie that wasn't the Joker, I think that thing would have been, would have been brilliant. I mean, and again, they wouldn't have been stuck in certain tropes like the Waynes and stuff. I mean, they really could have taken it any way they wanted to go.
I mean, but they play in just enough to be like, it's a Joker story.
Yeah.
But like I told Janine, I was like, the character is often referred to as the Joker. And then this is just Joker.
And,
yeah. So I think it's so like I'm sitting here, I'm pulling up notes, okay, of how over time, especially with the Black Label DC, there for a while, every book that was coming out.
Well, yeah, everything was either Batman or Joker or Harley Quinn.
Yes. Yeah. And I felt like the character for a while was getting diluted. And that's more in the recent time, so like I said, I'm just sitting here pulling up stuff and looking over it. It seemed like he was a very well-balanced character, but then over time recently, it's just been like saturation of books.
Yeah, well, like you said, they were going hard with Joker, and then all of a sudden, they took a break after Joker War. Like the two. I mean, they went hard for Joker for a while. Like, I mean, not as bad in the '90s, but it's like right after Death in the Family, they took a break. Like you said, beginning of New 52, they took a break with him. But and again, like even like back in the day, it's like now you can make the argument that Roz is almost as big as the Joker. Back like years ago, you couldn't even. I'd say the Joker was so much bigger than Roz, but now that he's been in at least one movie and he's made it to other media, now people know the name Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, I feel like okay, we have writers who are in our age bracket who grew up with Batman '89, so the Joker has such a heavy influence on them that they're going to bring the stories.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that is the interesting thing about comics and like the movies and TV shows based on them now is like back in the day, these creators didn't have that to fall back on. Now the creators of today can be like, oh, I have decades of comics, and I can look at and read and base it on this story, that story.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if future generations are going to be do that now, because both DC and Marvel try to sometimes make the comics look like the movies, or the characters seem like the movies and TV shows, and it's just that's not going to inspire great future cinema or TV shows or anything.
I mean, it's just how many of the stories in which go on today now we can be, oh, that's kind of pulling back to this from this time period. I mean, we've seen it. Okay, how many of the recent comic book movies have we seen that were inspired still by the 80s hardcore Frank Miller stuff?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think Zack Snyder tried to build his whole thing off it.
Yeah, I mean, he goes on record. He is a Frank Miller fan and likes that aesthetic to Batman and stuff. So he's pulling from what he grew up with.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, all that, like I said, all that 80s stuff was huge. It's even over at Marvel, all that Infinity stuff. I mean, that stuff's from the 90s.
And I mean, we can't undersell, I think, that the Joker has always been a big character, and I think Nicholson took the character and shot it to the stratosphere. But I think for this generation, when Heath Ledger showed up as the Joker and they brought him back, it was over. It was just, that was it. I mean, I think ever since Ledger's Joker is when, even in comics, they were just more Joker, more Joker. More Joker.
I mean, Heath Ledger gave such a great performance, but unfortunately, his untimely passing too, I think, just kind of cemented it even further. Where people are just yeah, it made people stop and take a look at this great performance, and who maybe some of them may have not looked if that hadn't been for that tragedy.
Mm-hmm. And I think the character is it is a great character. But I think sometimes, do they ever overuse the Joker?
Yeah, that's
a good question.
Yes. Although you could also say, some of the other rogues, kind of make a rise sometimes. I mean, ever since Gotham, so kind of where we started together. I mean, look at the Penguin's become big now. I mean, now the Penguin's getting his own, a version of the Penguin's getting his own series here soon. So,
do you okay? So let me ask you this: do you like the Joker having his own comic book series? Have you read any of the Joker his own title series?
Yes. I've read the more recent stuff. I know Lilith and I did cover there was a 9-issue series back in the 70s. We went through that. I mean, the more recent stuff, the first Joker series, was almost it was pretty much a Jim Gordon story. It was Jim Gordon tracking down the Joker, and it was kind of a Jim Gordon story disguised as a Joker story. But yeah. I don't think Joker himself can hold up his own book, but if you do,
I don't either.
But if you do something like that, where it's Jim Gordon's hunting him down, or I don't know, you have other villains or Harley punchline, something. He can't hold it himself.
I mean,
you need it because it's kind of hard to focus on a character that's so unfocused.
But it's also you're making the villain your protagonist constantly and you're trying to at the same time not, we just talked about with the Killing Joke, is, they gave us this origin that was not supposed to be his origin. That was kind of the joke too, is we have this whole story about he was the Red Hood and all this, and then, he pulls the card. I'm looking for the panel where he talks about remembering his origin and it being, the way he chooses to remember it. But then, we come to a book that was supposed to be, in continuity, but because of just changes, everything, 3 Jokers, which basically tells us that is a Joker origin for this version of the Joker, and that there's 3 of them, but they cement the Killing Joke even more by, having the one that hurt Barbara, and then we find out that the family didn't die, that Joker actually has a son. And Batman knows where that kid is and is keeping tabs on him. And then, like I said, this Joker, the short 8-page that came out today, even more touches on that.
See, I don't like that. I don't like that Batman. Yeah, I don't know about the whole family thing, but I don't like that Batman knows where they're at because they kind of suggest that Batman knows who the Joker really is.
Yeah, he says to Alfred, like, I've known since you first arrived.
And I don't like that. I think that's what makes Joker the ultimate. That's what makes Joker the ultimate villain. Because again, Batman's always prepared for any eventuality, any person, friends, enemies, whatever. I think that's what makes Joker the perfect villain, that he doesn't know who he is. So, he doesn't know exactly what's in that Joker's head because he doesn't know who he is.
And that's why, like, the idea of the 3 Jokers storyline, the idea that there's been 3 that have interacted with the Bat family at different times, I thought was great because it helped make the Joker even more menacing. Mm-hmm. Because all of a sudden now you're realizing you haven't been fighting one man, you've been fighting 3.
Yeah, but then it's like world's greatest detective. Shouldn't he have noticed that, from body language or body builds or whatever, that it's like you weren't dealing with the same guy over and over?
And that's where I think what makes it great is because at the same time it makes Batman uncomfortable because he maybe should have known that and he didn't. Because, as the story puts out, you have one Joker who interacted with Barbara, one that killed Jason Todd. So it's it's interesting,
Oh yeah.
But I feel the Joker has a character that has legacy because he went from being this psycho clown that used gimmicks to being more and more of this just psychopathic serial killer. I mean, recently the Batman Brave and the Bold book.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Like the story they had with the Joker going on there was dark.
Oh yeah, was that the Tom King story? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, really, he messed up Batman. Yeah.
I'm trying to pull it up right here, so I'm just waiting for it.
Oh, while you're pulling that up, have you ever read Going Sane from J.M. DeMatteis? It was an arc in Legends of the Dark Knight back in the day.
I think so.
Yeah, it's kind of like Joker thinks he kills Batman, and then it's like, anyone else would have like a psychotic break or something. So it's like Joker's already crazy. So what does he do? He goes sane and he actually disguises himself and starts like an actual life for himself. But then, finally, of course, Batman eventually returns. So it's like that just breaks him down again.
I think it sounds familiar. I think I had a bunch of those Legends of the Dark Knight books.
Yeah, I don't know if they collected it, but yeah, I know it was in Batman Legends of the Dark Knight back in the day. Yeah.
But I was pulling up this recent Batman the Brave and the Bold. The Joker story is really dark. And like we even got like the idea of the White Batman, the White Knight, where
yeah.
The idea that Jack Napier has become super sane. Mm-hmm. And that's like a flip on showing the Joker as like the best there is. So, I mean, they're always like, anytime you do an Elseworlds, we're finding that character appearing, Mm-hmm. I think if you do any kind of Batman media, at some point you need that character because I think people demand it now.
Oh, yeah.
So if you reinvent Batman for something, you have to reinvent the Joker as well.
I'm trying to find something. No, that's a trade. I thought it was the greatest Joker stories ever told. There's a trade paperback that collects the Joker, but I know back. Oh God, it's got to be out of print. So good luck finding it, kids. But might be able to find it on eBay or something. But it was like back during '89, and then they did it for returns too. They put out. I'm trying to remember. I thought it was the greatest whatever stories ever told. They did a Batman novel and a Joker novel, and it was just short stories by different people about whatever character that novel was about. And they put a Joker one out, and it was pretty good. Because I remember the Joker one. There was one that actually took place after one of the actual comics. Other ones, people just write a Joker story.
I mean, and it's funny how just how you go back to the first issue of where the Joker was, and then how he's just changed over time from being a more jokester to mm-hmm. being sinister. Well, he's one of the most probably the most recognizable villain of all times.
Probably, yeah. I mean, he has such a Yeah, unique. I mean, again, he looks like a clown, but yeah, a unique look, that purple suit and everything. And yeah, I mean, I've said it over and over, but Mark Waid said, yeah, Batman is the character, the fictional character with the most stories told about him ever in human history.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm sure Superman's probably a close second, but yeah, Batman is because again, God, there's a point in the 90s where Batman had like 4 books coming out at once. Well, so did Superman, but yeah, I mean, it's nuts.
Would you say he's your favorite Batman villain?
Joker? Yeah, maybe. I mean, again, you asked me who's the number one arch nemesis of Batman. I'll say the Joker, yeah. Because, again, Braz and Batman are, like, too much alike. Even, like, the Penguin and Batman almost. Because, again, in certain versions of the Penguin story, he comes for money. So it's like those two are so alike. But, like, Batman and Joker are so much two flip sides of the coin. It's like, complete order. Batman, once, tries to keep the world in such an orderly fashion in his own life, everything. And, yeah, Joker's just complete chaos.
And that's, I think, what makes interesting is against Batman is because he is so much, you said, the opposite of Batman. He doesn't have the rhyme or the reason like the others do,
or the two sides of the playing card.
Mm-hmm. I love those.
Yeah,
God, that's the one thing I loved about Three Jokers is like they put so much.
Yeah, kids, they put out those they look like playing cards. Yeah,
but they had like alternate covers.
Yep,
and the artwork was beautiful. I have the whole set; they're just put away. The cards, and the story. Like I just reread it 2 weeks ago. I read it as it came out, and I liked it, but I didn't love it like I wanted to. And then I went back and I just read it straight on the app, all collected.
Yeah.
And I really liked it more. I appreciated it more.
Yeah, there's a fine line on stories with that where it's like everything you knew, you thought you know the whole story, everything you knew was wrong, and it's just like, okay. And like I said, again, too, it's just like when you nail down Joker's origin, it's, no.
And I think that, I think for me, like the reason why the Killing Joke really appealed to me is because I am a person who is obsessed with characters' backstories and their origin and understanding like that back history, that mythology to every character. Mm-hmm. So the idea like, oh, this is the Joker's origin, this is his backstory. I was like, oh, okay, and then as I've gotten older, I appreciate the book for different things, but the backstory, once you realize that it really is kind of just giving you this ha-ha moment because it's giving you all this detail on a story that could have never happened.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, I got a question for you. So, which version of the origin do you like better? That like Batman '89, where he was already a criminal and like becoming the Joker just turned him insane, or like the Killing Joke, where he was like a normal guy, but then just going through the chemicals turned him completely insane and turned him evil?
I think this is going to sound like a cop-out answer, but I really think I like something in the middle a little bit more. Mm. I like the idea that here was a guy who was really intelligent, and we see that maybe he worked for a chemical company, like he was a chemical engineer, but he had mental problems maybe from dealing with chemicals or whatever. Mm. And he wanted to be a comedian, like he liked telling jokes, but he that was like his passion, his dream, and he put forth that, and but he wasn't. I don't definitely say he paint him as a good guy. Like he had issue, maybe violent temper and everything, and he was unhappy and he was mentally unstable. And then the criminal element came because you could do the Red Hood thing, or he needed money, and then the chemicals that just kind of pushed him over the edge to really be able to abandon. I kind of like the idea that the person, and we'll call him just Jack, because just for a pre-Joker name, maybe he did something that he doesn't want to remember. Like maybe he killed on accident his family or something, and then the chemicals just gave him that push to forget everything, start over, embrace this darker side. And I think him already being a criminal and getting pushed in is one thing, but you have to have psychosis, you have to have like the reason why he is so good at chemistry, and the idea that he was trying to be a comedian and he sucked. That's why he's obsessed with the humor. He's not like, I think it's always kind of funny, like you and I used to do the Who Watches the Watchmen, like with the comedian calls himself the comedian, but he doesn't make jokes. His stance on being the comedian is that he looks at life as a joke, that nothing makes sense. His big thing is it's all a joke. It's all a joke. Like,
yeah.
And it's his nihilistic output at life. But then you have someone like the Joker, who does make these dark, twisted jokes to his point. So my not that I have, like, I've come up with my own kind of Joker origin, because I kind of have over time, where he just snaps. And, I like the idea of that he snaps, and then through the chemical process and all of that, because he wasn't an established criminal, he was a good citizen or that he just snaps, and he has past trauma and baggage that Batman doesn't know who he is. And I mean, even the idea that the Joker didn't come from Gotham, No. The idea is that maybe he just moved there right before the accident happens. So there really wasn't a time for him pre-Joker to establish himself. Or he just picked Gotham as his city to terrorize.
I mean, that'd be interesting if he was like from some tiny small town or something.
And he just, like, when he came in, and the whole him being the leader of the Red Hood gang, I do like the way that it is used in the Killing Joke, where they always get somebody new to pretend to be the leader,
the Red Hood, yeah.
And he was just basically a front, and it was part of the gang's plan.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, not sound like a cop-out either, but I think that, the best origin might be, like, the combination of the two, where it's like, maybe he's like this small-time, bumbling criminal before the accident. Maybe he's not that good of a criminal because he has a little bit of morals and stuff, but once he takes that acid bath, then that just kind of rewires his brain, and then he goes from being the worst criminal in Gotham to the most feared man in Gotham, just because his brain chemistry has been all altered and he's gone insane.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the unknown, like, as much as and I think that's something that they did wonderful with The Dark Knight, and I think that characterization, that's part of why it did it did, is because
that was great, because you don't know where he is. The first time you see him, he's the Joker.
Yeah, he comes out of nowhere, and he's like this fully formed Joker, and and everyone's like, where does he come from? And there's maybe hints at where he came from.
Yeah, like he'll tell a version of the same story, but it's like, you want to know how I got these scars, and it's either the wife or the father. Yeah, something.
And once again, we're going to that, does he remember? I like the idea that he had some sort of trauma in his life that maybe he doesn't quite remember everything, like it was shattered. And so I like the idea that and I think that's why I like The Killing Joke, is as you read it, you're like, oh man. And then all of a sudden they kind of pull that's how it could have happened. But I think so many people have just taken it as like, oh, that's it. That's the story. That's the origin. That's how it happened. And it's not. It's just the presentation that the Joker is putting on. I mean, even look at, like, was it in Batman, the animated series version of Mad Love, where Batman's telling Harley the same BS story that the Joker told her, about his origin, about how his dad.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
And everything. And she's like, there's like one or two details that were different, and he's like, it's all a lie, Harley. So yeah, I just think the Joker being some sort of almost like force is a better story than having a definitive origin.
Oh yeah,
it makes the character endure, because then you can do more stories like The Killing Joke or whatever, where this is the backstory. It would be cool if they did like a, the whole point of The Killing Joke was, the whole one bad day can push you over. And then they did that whole line of books.
Yeah.
Of One Bad Day.
With all the villains, yeah.
So it's a legacy that I don't think will ever be let down with what they've accomplished. But I think at the same time, there's different lessons to be taken from it. And I think sometimes people take the wrong lessons from why a book is received the way it is. Mm-hmm. And why it's as famous or popular as it is.
Well, and it's hard. I would think to write a Batman or a Superman, because it's like they've been around over 80 years. It's like everyone has their image in their head, their definitive version of who Batman, who Superman are supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. And and that's, like I said, why I go back to, I think, about Three Jokers being such an awesome idea is you're going to touch on this legacy of this character, but you're going to appeal to it why this character's been different and who this character is.
I think the biggest problem I might have with the idea of Three Jokers is it's just like it doesn't make the Joker as unique if there's three of them.
Yeah,
it's almost like it's like any superhero or supervillain origin. A lot of them where it's like, yeah, if anyone else had gone through this, they wouldn't have become the Joker, or they wouldn't have become Batman, or so. It's like, because there even was was that 89? What was it, 89 or 90? There's a Batman story. Some guy tries to become the Joker, and then in the end, he tries to jump in the chemicals. They're like, no, the chemicals are stronger, these days, and he ends up killing himself.
It's like horrible but funny at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with before they even did the Three Jokers book, like, let's not forget how Gotham gave us three different Jokers on Gotham.
Yeah, true.
And I thought that was kind of clever because they couldn't actually make him the Joker, and they kept trying to dance around him being the Joker. And
yeah, it was kind of like, it was a big tease. Is this the Joker? No. Is this the Joker?
They used like Jeremiah, and like they have the, his face cut off kind of look, makeup reanimated, and then they have later he got gas and he had the white face, but it's much more cleaner. And then we got whatever the heck that was in the finale. Jeez.
Yeah.
That was messed up, grotesque Joker. So it's a character that will forever be linked to Batman. And I don't know about you, but is there actually a thing of a funny clown anymore? I feel like the idea of clowns being funny and stuff like that has just kind of disappeared. And all we have now are scary clowns.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you go to a circus or I don't know. There might be a few, but yeah, it seems like a very outdated thing, clowns almost.
Yeah, like you don't ever see like just funny clowns anymore. It's all some sort of like twisted clown. And you're like, well, you got to have a regular clown before you can do a twisted clown.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think things like, the Joker and, the Clown from It, all that. Yeah, I think, now the society's more used to scary clowns than all these funny clowns.
Yeah, the funny clowns, they don't even exist anymore. It's just like a who, what?
No. All right. So, anything else on the Joker?
No, it's, it's just a kind of thought, like, it's a nice kind of just exercise in thinking about this character and the evolution and the impact that this character has had.
Mm-hmm. But again, I always love talking to you, but thank you for pitch hitting for Kristen. Again, we kind of got hit with, the books got delayed and then she got sick, so.
Yep, it's all good. Like I said, we just kind of like, hey, let's talk a little bit about the Joker just for fun with, we'll probably touch base as we prepare and see the movie. And so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. Again, hey kids, if you don't know who we are, we're two of the three guys who were talking to Mark Wade when he dropped the crypto revelation. Yeah.
It's just kind of blown up. Like,
I know.
We didn't even point it out in our.
No, I saw somebody on Twitter pointed out, and then, all of a sudden, we got.
Because I even asked you like the day after, like, did Mark Wade confirm, crypto? And
well, that's why I asked you. I was like, was that common knowledge? I don't know if that was common knowledge.
I was like, it was a rumor, but I'm like, did he confirm it? Should we talk about this more? We were all like, and then we should.
Unless he was just commenting on the rumor, but again, these comic creators are always like, oh yeah, I don't know what they're doing in the movie, but then all of a sudden, a lot of these comics suddenly shift towards what the direction the movie's going to be going in. So,
well, I mean, the one thing is pointing out is like Mark Wade was on set. they did invite a bunch of creators and stuff to the set.
He's doing a lot over there. I swear that I think they're positioning him to do, I don't know if they're going to give him a corporate job or, he seems like he's back, which again, I'm fine with, but,
he's doing great work.
I'm thinking besides Jim Lee, if anyone over there knows anything that's going to be happening in gun stuff, it's going to be Mark Waid. All right. So, yes. So, yeah, we're those guys.
Yeah, we are.
All right. So, but yeah, if you, yes, you can catch us on the Capes and Lunatics and the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks podcasts. And again, if you want to send us thoughts on anything, we talk DC, we talk Marvel. And again, if you want a topic, like say, hey, talk about this character or that character, email us CapesandLunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. You can find episodes, social media, merchandise. We have a Patreon where you can help support us. The Patreon is at patreon.com/CapesandLunatics, and everything is at tubespace.io/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. It's tubespace.io/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. And, all right, so me and Tyler talk Superman together on Electric Mullet right here on this podcast at least 2 to 3 times a month. So, yeah, if you like Superman, check that out. But if you want more Superman talk and more DC talk, Tyler also does a podcast with a force of nature known as James Cole on the Krypton Report.
Yes, we do. And I highly ask anybody who's a DC fan, just check it out. And it is Superman focused, but we do touch on all, everything DC related. We love it. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got to be excited. Superman and Lois is coming back. Well, for the last season, but Superman and Lois is coming back.
I know. I'm excited. I'm also I don't know if I'm emotionally ready.
That was a big cliffhanger.
Dude, that was a cliffhanger and
hanging from the moon.
How are they, if they just ended the series there, that would be the worst.
I know. I was they better renew it. They better renew it.
I'm like, if they don't want to renew it, at least
do one episode, wrap it up.
Yeah, give me a movie.
2-hour movie or something. Yeah, TV movie.
There's no way I'm going to be able to survive where you left me.
Yeah, that's going to be sad, though, because once Superman and Lois is gone, kind of like that era of DC on the CW is going to be done.
Oh, yeah. It is.
Yeah, it kind of is, but yeah.
It's like the last show that's...
the Arrowverse is pretty much done, but yeah, that's going to be the last DC.
Yeah, because it's tangentially related to the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
Because it spun out of it, even though it was kind of its own thing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But it is the last DC on regular TV. All that whole explosion of DC shows is done. I don't. Peacemaker and the Penguin, I don't really consider part of that.
Yeah. I think a lot of them now, DC and Marvel, I think they're saving their stuff for the apps and stuff now. So.
I count the whole DC TV explosion being everything from Arrow up until go through everything that was on the CW. So all those shows, and then tie in even Titans, Stargirl, Swamp Thing, Doom Patrol, Gotham, Constantine. I don't think there's any I'm missing. I'm not naming all the CW shows, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
All of that, I think that, that whole era is done. What we're left with are these premium styled shows that are tying just into the films, which is what Peacemaker and the Penguin are.
Yes.
Which is a new era of DC television. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. All right. So, let's get out of here. And again, kids, Lilith and I, Tyler, you're welcome. We'll be covering the Joker movie when it comes out. So.
Yeah, Janine and I are going to do a commentary rewatch here soon.
Oh, nice.
And then her and I will go see the new one and talk about it, because the Joker has always been a character that she loves. Yes. So it's always nice to get her thoughts.
I was going to say, if you want to bring Jania too when we do the review, yeah, please.
Let's do it.
Tell Jania I am proud of her. I cannot get my wife on here to talk anything. So.
Oh, I'm on it now. Yes. I got it.
Tell her.
Juju, I'm bringing you on. She'll be like, what? What are you saying?
What now?
She'll be like, now I'm not ready. I'm like, no, later, baby. Later. So.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. So, make sure you tell her I'm proud of her, because, my wife won't do that. All right. See you, kids. So yes, stay tuned for a Joker review. Keep it here on CapesandLunatics Sidekicks for all DC reviews. All the comics. Oh, yes, and Will and I will be doing every episode of The Penguin on We Are Tonight.